It has been advertised that KFC's original recipe has a secret blend of 11 herbs and spices, but not many are aware that the recipe, along with some of the ingredients, are locked in a vault at the company's headquarters in Louisville, Kentucky. The secret recipe has never been patented because the company knows that patents expire, leaving their heavily guarded secret open to the public. In order to ensure the recipe remains secret, half is produced by Griffith Laboratories and then given to McCormick, who then add the remaining ingredients to the batch. Many have tried to decipher the ingredients by reverse engineering, but none have been able to successfully match KFC's flavor. KFC was one of the first franchises to move into Asian markets. Initially, the company's slogan was a little creepy. When the American fast food giant opened their first restaurant in Beijing in 1987, they accidentally translated KFC's 55-year-old famous slogan, "Finger licking good," to "We'll eat your fingers off." People of the Chinese city were taken aback, to say the least, at such cannibalistic marketing. But soon the mistakes were caught, and now KFC is the most popular Western fast food chain in China, with more than 4,500 outlets. It's so popular there that you can even get it delivered to your door. The man behind Colonel Sanders is actually Harlan Sanders. He was indeed a colonel, but not of the US military, as many people have assumed over the years. He was given the honorary title of colonel by Kentucky's governor Ruby LaFoon. The title was given to him as a reward for his accomplishments in service to the state of Kentucky. When Colonel Sanders passed away back in 1980, flags on every Kentucky state building flew at half-mast in his honor for 4 days. If you want to get your hands on some of Colonel Sanders' personal memorabilia, you're gonna have a nice bank balance. His trademark white suit, including the black string tie, was purchased at auction by the president and chief executive of Kentucky Fried Chicken Japan, Masao Charlie Watanabe. For the ensemble, he threw down a hefty $21,510. After placing the winning bid, he tried on the suit right then and there in the auction house, sporting a huge grin. He also snagged up the Colonel's 1973 Kentucky driver's license for $1,912. According to Watanabe, Colonel Sanders is widely famous in Japan, with most of the franchises erecting statues of him out in front of the stores. As important as the Colonel was to KFC, another man by the name Leon Pete Harmon was equally integral. He was the first man to franchise the KFC brand chicken at his hamburger joint. It was an instant hit, and the two men started opening restaurants around the country. Things really started to take off when Harmon came up with the idea to sell the chicken in the now iconic red and white striped buckets. 14 pieces of chicken, 5 rolls, and a pint of gravy was sold for $3.50. Even in the 1950s, that was a steal. Harmon was also responsible for their famous slogan, "Finger licking good." Harmon went on to operate more than 200 KFC locations in 4 states. Just like eating turkey is a time-honored tradition in America, surprisingly, eating KFC on Christmas holds the same merit in Japan. Kurisumasu Niwa Kentucky, which translates to Kentucky for Christmas, was a hugely successful marketing campaign in 1974. Japan can't get enough KFC on Christmas Day. Although the Japanese love those buckets year-round, sales skyrocket at all of their restaurants on Christmas Eve. Many order their boxes of their holiday feast weeks in advance to avoid the lines that can take up to 2 hours to get through. Christmas isn't a national holiday in Japan, as only 1% of the Japanese population is estimated to be Christian. Yet a bucket of Christmas chicken is the go-to meal on the big day. Americans are always trying to abbreviate long titles, so over the years, instead of saying Kentucky Fried Chicken, people would call it KFC. In 1991, the KFC name was officially adopted, but not for the aforementioned reason. President of KFC United States, Kyle Craig, admitted the change was an attempt to distance the chain from the unhealthy connotations of fried. During the late 80s and early 90s, America was gravitating toward more health-conscious food choices. KFC execs knew that having the word fried prominently in the name would deter some consumers. At the time, some marketing analysts questioned the wisdom of shedding a well-known name, but all they did was slap the face of Colonel Sanders on the bucket, and the problem was solved. KFC, a powerhouse in itself, has a direct relation with two other mega restaurants, Taco Bell and Pizza Hut. All three companies are owned by Yum food brands. At one point, Yum even owned Long John Silver's and A&W restaurants. Nationwide, you may be able to see freestanding buildings with different combinations of the three brands. That's why sometimes you can order KFC and Taco Bell from the same menu. Yum's newest acquisition is the Mongolian hot pot restaurant Little Sheep. In 2011, they agreed to pay $587 million for the rights to the company. Colonel Sanders once shot a man over a billboard. Sanders' gas station competition Matt Stewart would paint over his sign to deter potential customers from visiting his business. When Sanders discovered Stewart painting over the sign, he and two of his employees ran to catch him red-handed, heavily armed. Shots rang out from each of the men. In the resulting gunfight, one of Sanders' employees was killed. Sanders then shot Stewart in the shoulder in retaliation. The incident gave Sanders complete control over the gas station market in the area, after his competition was sent to jail for murder. After selling the KFC business for a mere $2 million in the mid-70s, Sanders wasn't too happy with the way the company was being run. He was notorious for bad-mouthing the product on many occasions. In 1976, he visited a Greenwich Village location and told a New York Times critic that it was the worst fried chicken he had ever seen. And don't even get him started on the gravy, as he once claimed that it wasn't even fit for his dog. After being dissatisfied with the way his brand was being handled, he tried to open a competing restaurant named Claudia Sanders, the Colonel's Lady, after his second wife. KFC sued Sanders, and the suit settled out of court for $1 million. The restaurant still exists today as the Claudia Sanders Dinner House.